Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today we're going to be doing lots of pruning. I'm going to start today by pruning up my Norway maple. I've left this sacrifice branch on it that's really long and tall, and today I'm going to prune it back. Let's go in now and have a look at the tree. So it's got quite a nice root base on it. There's a lot of weeds I have to clear out here, that Scotch moss. But a nice shaped trunk. It's getting some character to it. I had a bit of dieback at the top, so I carved that away. And I left this on. I didn't want to do any pruning till the tree had recovered its health. And after repotting it this spring, it has. It's really recovering nicely. You can see all the new growth on it here. There's all kinds of new growth up top here. So it's doing really well. It's nice and healthy. So I think I can successfully take off that long, tall leader that's sticking way out of the profile of the canopy. I'm just looking at the tree. I've got to decide where to prune it. I've got a nice branch down here that's kind of horizontal and another one that goes vertical. That may be kind of low. I might be better to prune it up here first. Taking off the thicker branch, leaving the thinner one and pruning that back. I think that's a good plan for now. Just kind of taking off this thicker one and pruning this one back. Then maybe as more branches grow in this section, I can further reduce it. But I think for now that's a good place to cut the tree back to. You can see from the carving it's rolling over nicely. I think the reason for a lot of the dieback on this tree was when I was repotting it in the old soil, I found a lot of crane fly larvae, and I think they were eating the roots and weakening the tree. So I think it's looking really healthy now, so I think I can prune it today. All right, here I go. Whew, this is a big step forward for this tree. So I'm wondering, if I should leave, there's some buds here on this trunk, if I should leave those on or remove it. But I think I'm going to leave it on. This branch isn't going the greatest direction from the front. It's kind of coming back on the tree. I've got this tip, which isn't bad. I'll prune the little one off first. So here I go. I'm going to prune this one off. Like that. Now we'll look at the front view. Yeah, this one is the best branch and it goes right vertical, so it may not be the best one to use. I'm going to prune this back. I'll keep this bud that's facing outwards. So I'll prune it back to here. So here I go. That's off, and you can see how long that branch was. Wow. And then the other branch coming off of that same kind of trunk line, I've got this one. All the foliage is up top on it, so I need to prune back to some dormant buds that are back here. Ones that are fanning outwards. There's some good ones back in here. So I'm going to prune just above there. So here I go. Like that. Taking all that foliage off too. So now the tree is quite compact. So that finishes the pruning on the tree for today. Now I'm just going to clean up the weeds at the root base. All right, I've got my tweezers and I'll try and pick these big chunks of Scotch moss out. Trying to get the root and all. There, I got the root out on that one. That's good. So this tree has a really nice root system. It's got nice surface roots. Has a lot going for it for a Norway maple. It's been in training for many, many years. It was started from a seed that grew in the front garden, or a seedling, and it was trained in the ground for about 10 years, maybe even 12, and then it was pulled up and it started life as a bonsai in training, and you know, it's probably 20 years old now. And it sure had its ups and downs over the years. But okay, so that root base is cleaned up. I should take this moss off too. I don't want moss growing up around the roots. Let me just get my toothbrush and I'll just do a bit of brushing here too. That moss tends to rot away the bark on the trunk. So when I repotted this tree, I had the soil line was a little high, so I might be able to take a bit of the soil away. I think the root base is better from the back of the tree. However, you know, you get this big pruning scar up top here. So, but who knows, you know, in the future that may heal over and start looking pretty good. So, best to keep all options open. I'm just going to take a bit of the soil away. It's a little high in the pot. I'll rotate the tree around so you can see it from all views. So here I go. And back to the current front. My Norway Maple bonsai can go back on the bench, and I'll get out the next tree. The next tree I'll be working on is this field maple, or Acer Compestra. I got this young seedling from David of the Toronto Bonsai Society, and it's really grown well this year. I root pruned it in spring, and it's really taking off and thickening up. So today I'll give it a pruning. I'm going to start the work by just pruning off these new shoots, these long ones. So here I go. And then I'll look at the styling of the tree and decide where the front will be and what I'll do with the branch structure. So I'm just going to look at the tree now. It's quite a nice line there. Let me just mark the front of the tree. That's quite a nice front there. You can see the Y-shaped division up here. Because it's on the angle, it kind of narrows it. I've got a nice branch off to this side. There's not too much sticking directly at the viewer. So I'm going to start the pruning. I had some opposite branches here. I pruned off the one on this side. You can see there's a pruning scar here. I kept the one on this side, and there's two new shoots that grew in on this side, so I'll remove those. Up here, it divides here, and then I've got another division up top, and I've got some branches coming up from the bottom. I'm going to remove those. I don't need those there. I'm thinking this view might be better as a front. These two branches, let me just redo this front here. If you look at it from this view, I think these two branches are nicer. They kind of spread out each side, and the top is still, that Y shape is on an angle, so it's quite tight. I think that's a better front view. Now, same on this one, I'm going to remove this branch going towards the inside. That's kind of going to come off. And I think this branch can stay, and the one back here, but I'll shorten this one like that. And then I'm going to, up top here, I'm just going to keep the one branch leader. It divides here into a Y shape. I'm going to prune out the center stub like that. And then I'm going to take off this one here. And I might be able to get in now and clean up that stub a little better. Yeah, like that. So I think I pruned this Y shape at the back here, but it's too tall, so I'm going to take it back to the next leaf internode here. So back to here, and this one back to here. And I think that's looking pretty good. There's the front view of it. I'll rotate it around just in case a better view comes, but I think that's a pretty good view. So here I go, I'll rotate it around. Yeah, I definitely like that as the front view. So the field maple is all pruned up. I'll put it back on the bench and we'll get out another tree. The next tree I'll be working on is the tree that Joey gave me, the juniper. So, what I was thinking on this, it's got this long kind of cascading branch that doesn't have much taper or movement. It's very straight and stiff looking. So I was thinking of removing the bottom part of it, keeping the nice, this branch is the new branch leader right up here. Maybe even the one below it, maybe even this branch, but definitely the bottom off. So now I have the possibility of making that dead wood the cut. So I could do that. I'll leave a stub, we'll carve the dead wood, see how it looks. So I'm going to cut it right here. So here I go. That's come off. So how does it look now? I think it looks better. I think it looks good. This branch here is the branch leader. So I find that stub distracting, but let me see if I should make it a gin. I don't think so. And the reason I don't is that it's got a lot of curves, this tree. And I've got a nice opportunity for a curve here, and if you leave a piece of deadwood sticking out, your eye comes down the cascade and ends at the deadwood instead of kind of flowing out on the branch tip. So I think it'd look better cut off flush. So I'm going to get it closer. I may have to do some carving later on, but I think for now, flush. Here I go. Like that. How does that look? Does that look better? I think that looks better. Okay, so I'm going to look at the front of the tree now and see what other pruning I can do on it. I think there is some more. It's not a very compact tree. It's kind of loose and long and leggy, so I think it's time to kind of start bringing some of the branches back in. I have a new kind of leader growing here, which can fill up this part of the canopy. I think this branch here, I think I'm going to remove it. There's a lot of new foliage growing in at the base there. This is kind of long without any branches in that whole section. And I have it dividing from 1 to 2 here. I don't think I need this third one. So I'm going to prune it off. So that's gone. So there's what it looks like now from the front. Hopefully it's looking better. So on this tree, I have this side which cascades, and I also have a bit of a cascade on this side. I don't like it. I think to emphasize this part of the cascade tree, I don't think I should have any hanging branches on this side. So I'm thinking of removing this one that's hanging down. It kind of goes parallel to the trunk too, which doesn't look very good. I'm actually thinking of removing that entire branch on this side. Put the emphasis on the cascade part. I think so. I think right now it looks like someone with their arms out. So I think removing this one is going to really improve this tree. So here I go. I'm going to take off just this part of it for now. Here we go. That's gone. Does it look better? That's the question. I think it does. I think it looks way better. Kind of looks like a wind-blown one now. Yeah, and I like all this foliage tight to the trunk. I think that'll be the future, keeping this short, ramifying it, keeping the wind swept here, and maybe even someday getting rid of this part. Maybe. Definitely. Yeah, definitely all this foliage can come off eventually. I am going to do a little shortening of it today. I've just got to decide which ones to shorten. I think the one sticking straight up here, let's come off. Another one sticking straight up here. That one's off. And I think I've got to take this one. I think this one interrupts. It's kind of like in between everything. And I think, you know, you want to see this cascading part. I don't think we want to feature this. So that's going to come off too. Yes. So here I go. That's off. So that should change the styling of the tree quite a bit. And I do like it. I think it has a bit of style now. I'm thinking this one that's hanging down here is a bit low. It's lower than my cascade branch, so I'm going to prune the tip off of it. Come back to here. Like that. Yeah, that really unifies the styling of it. I think that looks really good. Yeah, I think it's quite exciting looking now. I'm really looking forward to developing this further. It's come a long way since it had that, you know, like basically 5 trunks coming out from one spot, and now it has a bit of style to it. I think it's looking good. So I'll give this a water and we'll put it back on the bench. All right, here I go with the water. Give it a nice watering here. Make sure it's thoroughly soaked. That should do it. The next tree I'll be working on is this white ash that I also got from David's. It was a big tall tree. I cut it back. I severely root pruned it, put it in bonsai soil this spring, and now it's shot up like crazy once again. So I think it's ready to be pruned back. All right, let's start working on the ash. There's a lot of dead leaves in here. I think there's a web of something in here. Maybe a spider. Caterpillars, I don't know. I think they're like tent... Oh. Yeah, they were tent caterpillars. Maybe a spider, I don't know. Anyway, I gotta clear it out. So this tree, it has a curvature to the trunk, very slight, but very nice. So I think, you know, the overall height of the tree should be quite a bit shorter. I just cut it off randomly. There were no branches on this lower part of the tree at all. And now there is, so I can, if you look in it from this view, you can kind of see the trunk line, the curve. And then I've got all these branches up here, so I can reduce the tree, the height of the tree down quite a bit more, down to some of these nice branches. And I think I will, because it's got nice curvature and taper here, and then it goes straight up here, so I want to shorten it. So let me pick a point. I think, you know, for the front of the tree, it's either this side or the opposite side. So I've got some nice branching here that I'm going to take it back to. And I think I'm going to just keep the 1 leader and cut it on an angle. I don't think I want too many branches in this area yet. There's also one growing on the inside of a curve here I'll take off first. So here I go. I'll remove these lower ones. They're growing on the inside of the curve there. And then I've got to take the top off. So I'm thinking right through here. Okay, here I go. So a big cut coming up, like that. So I took the entire top off the tree, and you can see the cut, my new branch, or my new tree leader. And the reason I didn't want branches coming out here is that it's still kind of straight here. So I think as it grows out here, I'll get a bit of movement to it as it heals. And then I'll start the branching up here. So I'm also going to remove these branches down at the bottom. I'm just trying to develop the trunk line for now. So there, you can see the trunk line now. I'm not going to reduce the height of this leader because I want it to grow and heal from where I cut it. I could even clean that up a little more. I think that's better. So I think that's it for the ash. I think, you know, as this grows this summer, heals this section, I can then prune it off again and maybe start developing some branches. And yeah, so for now I'm just developing that trunk line, and the actual styling of the tree will come later. The next tree I'll be working on is my monkey ear trees. These were all grown from seeds, and I think they're either 3 or 4 years old. And you can see how tall the main tree is grown. It's like really tall. So today I'm going to be pruning them back, basically to stumps, and then regrowing branches. All right, let's get this tallest tree pruned back somewhere here. I think I'm going to take it right back to here. So here I go. Like that, taking the whole top of the tree off. And then I've got another long one here. I could take that one back to here. Like that. All right, so I still have some more trimming to do. I've got some long shoots out here. I'll take it back to, I'm looking for buds that face upwards. I guess to here. And this one to here. Like that. And then there's a branch coming up here. I will prune that back to here. Like that. Now, I've got a shoot growing up the middle here I could shorten. I think I will to here. I've got a shoot growing across here. I'll shorten that to here. You can see on the main tree, I did have some branching here, but the branches died back and all the energy went into growing the leader tall. These trees do branch, but they're not real easy to get to branch. You kind of have to let them grow, get lots of vigor, hard prune them, and then you'll get a lot of shoots growing out just below the cut point, and you'll get some kind of a branch structure. So it's something I'll work on. I'm going to clean up these stumps, these dead stumps off the tree, just pruning them flush, like that. There's one up here. Okay, that's kind of cleaned up all the dead wood. Now I'm just going to take a look at the design of the trees, the forest. So there's the front. There's 4 trees in this. I've tried to grow a cutting. I started out with I think 3 trees, and 1 cutting took, which is this back one. So I still need another cutting to make 5, but I can try that today. There, that's a good clean cut there now. And then I'll reduce the top of it to there, and I'll plant that as a cutting. And I think I should take the leaves off it too. They may not root with those. And then I'll place it in the soil. Okay, so there's our 5th tree planted. I'll give it a good water. It's quite dry. And then I'll put it back on the bench. All right, here I go with the water. Soak for a bit. Soak. And that's it. I'll put the monkey ear trees back on the bench and get out the last tree for today. The last tree I'll work on today is this Trident Maple. This was a gift from Ray. So you can see it's growing really, really well. I did repot this and root prune it in spring, and it's reacted rather well. My new dwarf Scots pine is also from Ray's place. I'm going to prune this tall leader back today. I've got some shoots out front where they're kind of that height. So I think, you know, somewhere in here would be appropriate. So let's do it. Let's prune it off. So I'm looking for a leaf direction. I want something kind of coming out the back so the new branches fan outwards. So I've got some good choices here. I think I'm going to come, tough decision. I think back to here. So here I go. So that whole top has come off. These will grow from cuttings, Trident Maples. Might be worth a try, I don't know. I probably have too many trees. I better not. And then I'm just going to prune these new shoots back a little bit. Just a little long. So I think back to here. Taking the tips off them. This one, it's kind of growing on the inside of a curve here. Don't think I want that one at all. I'm going to take it right out. Bad position for a branch to grow. And then I previously pruned the trunk here, and there's a bit of a stub here, so I'll clean that up. Whew. These tools are hot from being in the sun. I can hardly hold on to them. They're so hot. Oh my goodness. I better let them cool down a bit. So you can imagine how hot your pots get in the sun. Not good for the roots. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to prune that stub away. Like that. So there it is. There's the Trident Maple. I'll show you a close-up of it. Basically a stick with maybe one branch, but it's the start of a bonsai, you know. A few more years of development, it'll start to look like a tree. It's time now for some updates on both the kittens and the trees. Here's a look at all the kittens without the mother there, because she's eating. Oh, they are very cute. Look at those little faces. What do you think, Mama? Hi, you okay? Very nice. Those kittens sure are cute. I'll show you an update to my juniper, the one I pruned back recently. Here it is here, and you can see all kinds of new growth. It's looking really, really good. Came back from that last pruning really nicely. My goal is to get sort of a windswept mountaintop juniper look to it. It'll slowly get there, I hope. Here's a look at some of my succulents in the polyhouse. So they're looking really good. I'm going to be having a succulent day coming up soon. I should have made it Succulent Sunday, but maybe that'll be a thing in the future. I don't know. So here's that cutting. This is a cutting off one of, I think that was Joey's tree. And it's doing really well. So that needs some styling and some work. There's a lot of cuttings off of it down here. Here's the cutting off of Connor's jade here. I think that also needs some styling. I was, thinking maybe I could cut off all these upright branches and have this thick trunk with a canopy here. But I have a lot of those kind of baobab style jades. So I was thinking maybe just taking off the one thick branch there, taking that one off, and then having kind of the single trunk line over this side so it doesn't have this Y-shaped here. I think that would look much better. So that's a possible future for that one. I've got this tiger aloe here that I need to get in a pot. It's in this little pathetic pot. It's growing really well, but I think it needs some style to start making it look more like a bonsai. Here's a look at my azalea that I got from David of the Toronto Club. It's growing really well. And there's my parrot's beak that I got from Kale when he came over here. So that's cool. Doing well. Yeah, there's a few other succulents. I have a lot of jades here. My crown of thorns. Yeah, there's a lot I can work on. You can repot them in the summer. It's probably the best time to repot them. So I'll be doing a lot of repotting with some of these jades. The new ones, the new succulents, and a lot of work on them soon. So that'll be coming up. We'll have a day of succulents. I got a lot of my trees back on track today by pruning them down. And that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.